Great news about rental assistance and rent eviction moratoriums as more lenient economists on an hourly and daily basis say the need to pass eviction moratoriums in a second stimulus package. Hey everybody, this is LALATE with a second stimulus check and stimulus package update for today. Our fourth of 5 second stimulus packages with EIDL following shortly thereafter. Hope you are good and safe. This one's about rental assistance, rent eviction moratoriums, and mortgage forbearances. Really good news because of one big thing that's happening in the last 24 hours. Nearly every leading economist has come out and said we absolutely have to have a national rental eviction moratorium. It is from both sides, from both Republicans, Democrats, they're economists. They're saying the need for moratoriums and grant assistance for rental issues impacted by the COVID-19 has to be passed as part of a second stimulus package. Why is this so important? It's important for a lot of regards because of the concern about really a massive number of homeless cases just ticking away, minutes away. Where are we and what's going on and what's happening? So under the HEROES Act, which is currently in the Senate and came from the House, it proposes a lot of things for renters. It proposes a rent moratorium that would prevent any of you from being evicted by virtue of federal law, no matter what state you live in, until 2021 or until the pandemic settles down. It is a great law. It is a great law because it would prevent any of you from being displaced, aka made homeless, because of the pandemic. It mirrors a lot of states. There are some states that actually have this on the books for purposes of state law. Delaware has passed a state law that prevents exactly the same situation. You can't evict anyone in Delaware until 2021 or until the pandemic settles down, whichever is later. Really great news, but the bad news is that there's only about 23 states that currently have anything in place preventing eviction moratoriums. So that's that. Overnight, leading economists followed more economists that were talking all throughout the week, and they all said the same thing, and this is really good news. It's good news because a collective agreement, whether you're a Republican or Democrat, that an eviction moratorium has to be passed. And it has to be passed with a grant assistance for rent and a mortgage forbearance for the landlords. So let me go over what they're talking about. It's really like a 3-prong approach, and it's really great because it deals with all the issues. First, it wants to prevent anyone from being evicted. So we got that. The tenants. No one can be evicted because of the pandemic. It doesn't want them to be evicted. Second, it doesn't want the landlords not to make money. It wants the landlords to have the income. So it will give the tenants grant money to pay the landlord their rent that they're owed and pay the utility company the utilities that they're due. So it wouldn't forgive rent. It would actually provide a fund so that landlords get the rent that they need. So it helps both the tenant and the landlord. Everyone would get what they need. The renter would get their home and not be displaced, and the landlord would get their rent and not lose their income. And the utility company would pay its utilities. Next, there is a mortgage forbearance provision as well. It would prevent foreclosures of properties against landlords if for some reason there was an additional economic impact by COVID-19 that is not covered in the bill. So there currently was a moratorium for forbearance for foreclosures during the CARES Act that is running up and about to expire. But once it expires, what's going to happen? So this would extend that foreclosure. It would also cover the foreclosure for people who own their homes. So if you're a home owner and you're worried about making your mortgage payment, it would protect you as well. So that's really great news. So we have protections for the renter, we have protections for the landlord, we have protections for the property owner. All three would get protections, and no one would be cut out of money. Let's use a simple term. No one would not get their money. I need a sip of my Mai Tai before I get to the Before I get to the banks, I mean, everyone needs a break before you get to the banks. The banks are the scary ones. You know what the banks are worried about is calling all these mortgages, calling all these mortgages for foreclosure. Suddenly they have hundreds of thousands of millions of foreclosures, and then they have all these foreclosures on their books, and they're taking up all these properties in debt, in default. Well, it would prevent that from happening as well, because it would basically ensure that landlords got their income. It would ensure that tenants had the money to pay their landlord. It would ensure that tenants would not be displaced. So everyone would be helped under the second stimulus package, so that we would never go up the food chain to the banks. We would be the whole plan would be to stop the problem from matriculating, from getting worse until we got to the banks. That's the great news. So the rental assistance plan would include the grant and would also include eviction moratorium. It would also include a timeline. This is the part of the plan that worries me. And boy, I mean, nothing else worries me than a timeline that doesn't make sense. The timeline is the following. The proposal would likely get approved around August 8th if it got approved. But what's going to happen to everyone between now and August 8th? There is currently on the books tens of millions of new eviction cases filed within the last couple of days. How bad is the number and how big is the number? A new report obtained by LALATE overnight says that the number currently of new eviction cases pending now in states in which there's no eviction moratorium is the worst seen since the Great Recession of the 1990s, when that number was developed over several years. It was several years of evictions. They're seeing within several days the numbers of several years of evictions in the Great Recession of the 1990s. It's that many cases, and that's only in 50% of the U.S. states where eviction moratoriums are not in place or have been expired. A lot of them are coming up for expiration in the next couple of weeks. So what's going to happen then? It's deeply troubling. Now, the good news is that a lot of viewers have been reporting to me in some cities and some counties and some states, they actually currently have their own second stimulus package in place. They actually have grant assistances in certain counties in Texas, for example, that'll give you free grant money if you can't make rent because of COVID-19. I have one wonderful viewer who comments on a daily basis, and he said that he was about to be displaced. He was about to be thrown on the ground. He was about, not thrown on the ground, thrown on the street. He was about to get kicked out. He was about to get evicted until he realized that his county or his city there in Texas had a grant program. And that grant program allowed him to apply, and he got the grant. He got rental assistance. He was in a county or city where they had no moratorium. I have other viewers I know from Texas who have said that they have moratoriums in their states. That's what makes everything so complicated. And I'm here to help you, and I'm here to keep you positive, keep you inspired. In some states, the governor said, I'm not going to decide this. I'll let the counties and the cities decide. Well, it makes everyone very confused, because you can go 15 feet over into the next city, and that could have an eviction moratorium. You could step back into this one, and this one might not have an eviction moratorium. Well, in Texas, they have some moratoriums, and others they don't. And where they don't, one viewer found a free grant program. Really great news. So if you are in one of those 29 states, it's approximately 29 states that don't have an eviction moratorium, that now have rampant runaway evictions going on place, and you are not able to make rent, you need to immediately look for that grant money now, because late July is too late. Ultimately, viewers of this channel are facing eviction now. They're in trouble now, and evictions is one of the things that is most troubling for me, for my viewers. Everyone knows that evictions is really the cliff of the start of the financial cliff, the start of falling off the financial cliff. They have, all the top economic analysts have said, you absolutely cannot have rapid runaway evictions because then you'll have homelessness, and you'll have homelessness out of control during a pandemic. Pandemic numbers, COVID-19 numbers will increase if homelessness numbers increase. The virus will expand, more lockdowns will be issued. It just keeps on snowballing. Ultimately, someone in the comments yesterday said I scare people. I don't scare people. I inform people about what people are saying. So economists are saying you absolutely can't have massive evictions. You can't have massive evictions in this country in July in the middle of a pandemic, because it'll cause real bad financial circumstances. The good news for you is that so far, the Republicans have not said anything negative about rent assistance. If you've been watching today's videos, which I hope you had, the Republicans have been talking about, as my nose starts to really itch. Oh my God. I'm itching because I'm getting worried. The Republicans have said that they are in favor of a second stimulus check. They have not said that they're in favor of hazard pay. They're not in favor of FPUC. But when it comes to renters assistance, they haven't said anything. So, is that good? Is that bad? At the moment, you can read the tea leaves however you want to read them. My remark is the following. You need to learn and educate for yourself right away what's the situation for your state for evictions and your county, your city. And if you are not in a protected environment in which evictions are allowed, please immediately look for grant programs right away, because those grant programs may help you now before even the second stimulus package is approved. If you have questions in today's video, drop them in the comments below, and we may answer them in tomorrow's recording. As always, I have to also add that grant assistance, grant moratoriums, mortgage forbearances, all those programs do not conflict with anything else. I have to always explain that. So whatever I've discussed in this video about renters assistance, you can get it and has nothing to conflict with PUA, FPUC, UI, PPP loan, EIDL. Don't worry. I always have people that ask me that question. Can I get it even though I have that? It doesn't conflict with the second stimulus check either. It does not conflict with the second stimulus check either. If you have questions to today's video, drop in the comments below. And as always, stay safe and motivated and positive. And this is LALATE.